Good to unmute myself. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are all well, and welcome back to Making Sense. If you're joining us for the first time, please remember to let us know where you're tuning in from. And today I just want to celebrate all of you who've been with us. We've now been doing this segment every Friday, I hope 2 to 3 p.m. intermittent breaks from April. So we have just finished our 6th month of doing this, and it has been such an amazing journey. And thank you for all of you who've been joining us. I know some of you have been with us loyally, but thank you for everybody who's been joining us along the way, and those indeed who are joining us today. Please start letting me know, as I always start, where are you tuning in from? Let us know whether you're in Kenya, what parts of Kenya, other countries in Africa, or indeed the world. Because Making Sense is this community that we are building, this community that we are growing, and it is all about financial empowerment. And listen, guys, there's a lot of information out there. You could Google any platform and say, how does investments work? How does spending work? How do all these other things work? But in Making Sense, well, we've called it conversations. It's about those areas and turning those areas into things that you can emotionally connect with. Because when it comes to wealth creation, when it comes to money, there are those areas, and it's only through conversations that you can actually be able to apply them. So when you're here, just imagine I'm in your sitting room, and we're having a conversation. And as we go along today, please comment, please ask questions. And it's the last quarter of the year, so we want to take a new voice and a new turn during this season. So welcome everybody, and I hope you can now hear me clearly. Just confirm you can hear me clearly. And yes, I want us to get started. So we are going into the last quarter of the year, and it's been such a different year for everybody. And there's been COVID-19, there's been issues with our work, issues with money, there's been changes, there's been issues with family, challenges with family, changes with family. And it's time, I think, as we hit the last part of the year, for all of us to take stock and say, we don't want to enter the next part. We don't want to enter 2021 doing the exact same things, having the exact same conversations, blaming the exact same things. So while we are doing what we're doing today, and the voice that we now want to carry on with is what is going to make things different for us as we actually go forward. Yeah, and really that's what we want to. We really want to focus on as we go. Since the beginning of the year, I have been talking about, especially since COVID happened, David and Goliath. And today I want us to launch a conversation on David and Goliath, because it is those principles from David and Goliath that we are actually going to use as we go on. So we're going to have a series. We have five weeks in October. So today I want to make the introduction, but we're actually going to go into a series of understanding, how do I actually apply what I need to apply from David and Goliath. So just excuse me, I just need to stop something for 1 minute so I can fix my sound. Just give me Sorry for that, everybody. I just needed to fix something with my sound, but I am back. Yeah. So as I was saying, I've been talking about David and Goliath for a couple of months now in bits and pieces. And if you've joined in some of the Centonomy conversations along the way, you've been hearing me mention David and Goliath. So later today, you may not have gone and read the Bible. Just go read the Bible and look at that story, because I really want to draw out some things that we're going to delve into this month. I want us to use October as a month that prepares us for the rest of the year. And indeed, what is coming our way next year, so that when we close this year out, we're not in the same situation. So let me just take a minute to welcome anybody. Agatha, North Carolina, and welcome, and Kim, welcome again from Dubai. Alice from Athi River, Cornelius from Majengo, Mombasa. Welcome everybody, and welcome to Making Sense. So I'm going to go straight into it. So to explain why this is so important, and whether it's a business, whether it's your personal money, whether it's your career, anything related to your wealth creation journey, we're now going to start touching on what did David do. So if you know the story, let me repeat a few things that were in that story. So in a nutshell, this is what we've always assumed, yeah? And this is the way the story has been presented to us for a very long time. And you know the story, we like this story because we always look at it as the underdog who beat this great giant called Goliath. But as I've been studying it today, even I had my Bible in front of me, as I've been studying it, it's more than just about that. And from the beginning, you start seeing that David, first of all, knew he was curious about what is going on. Yeah, he went and saw there were people fighting, there were people gathering around talking about this great giant, and he was curious about it. So curiosity is one of the things, but also he was small, and so people didn't think he could beat Goliath. And all of us have Goliaths in our lives, whether it's money, whether it's in our business. There's been Goliath in some sort of way in your life. Haven't you all felt that this season there's been Goliath in your life? But he understood his experience when he was looking after sheep, where he killed a lion, where he killed a bear, was important experience. And why I want to do this series so much is a lot of us have those kind of experiences, but we underestimate them. Nobody pointed out for David that he had that experience. It was actually just him. Then he tried to put on the king at that point, King Saul tried to put on the armor of Goliath, the armor of the army that they were wearing, and David couldn't move in that armor. How many of us many times are trying to wear other people's armor? And then he had fantastic vision. So we have a blueprint of our lives, and I think COVID came and disrupted that blueprint. But even without COVID, guys, isn't it true that there's a way life is supposed to be? There's a way wealth is supposed to mean. There's a way success is supposed to look like. And even the way we were brought up, there's a blueprint. Go to school, get a job, get married, have kids, and life should definitely be a certain way. And for a lot of us, sometimes we're doing this life, but feeling like imposters because it's at some point conflicting with how authentically we feel we are invested in this life. So we are doing something, but something, have you felt that something is missing? And every time I talk to people, people are always like, yeah, I'm in this job, or I'm in this career, or I'm doing this with my money, or I want to make money, but something is missing. And we've got to disrupt that blueprint. And I think what David did was disrupt a blueprint. It was supposed to be somebody who looks like Goliath, who has trained in the army, who would beat Goliath, but it wasn't. It was actually him. So Goliath for you can be, if you're in business, you could be looking at it like a competitor. It could be somebody you aspire to be. It could be a system. It could be a system that's stopping you from getting credit. It could be your debt that is the Goliath in your situation. It could be your boss. It could be a big obstacle that is in front of you. This is what is stopping you from buying your dream house. So even as I go through this introduction today, and I'm calling it like an introduction because this story is so deep, and I'm going to go through the principles for the rest of the month. As I go through this introduction, I want you to ask yourself, what is the Goliath in front of you? It could be aspirations and a vision that you have that is so huge, but you just can't see how to get there. So that becomes the Goliath. But what we're saying, guys, is as we go forward, we're going to use different tools to approach our life, because we cannot come out of what we've gone through this year only to try and go back. You know, people keep talking about we're now going back. In many countries, the reported numbers have been reduced. There's a sense of economy opening up and people are talking about going back. But it would be such a mistake if 5 years from now, all we did after going through what we went through today is go back. It would be such a mistake, yeah? So for the sake of today, let me go through just a couple of points, yeah? First of all, what's your vision? Yeah, and I'm going to break this down. So if you're joining in today, please make sure you tune into the live series we're going to be doing for the rest of the month at 2 p.m. every day, and get people to come and join in, because it's in the live series we can actually ask questions, we can actually challenge each other, and there'll be stories of people who in their own lives have been it's been a David and Goliath story. So what I'm saying is, don't aspire to be Goliath, being big for big sake. Yes, I'm saying don't aspire to make money because of the same aspirations you had 6 months ago, which a lot of the times has to do with what other people think. People have judged us all over the place, or we've judged ourselves because we don't live in a certain place, we don't drive certain things, our kids don't go to certain schools. And I'm not saying those things are bad, but we don't have to be big for big sake. We don't have to look like Goliath. So many people have said they thought in their businesses they should open branches all over, but no, the world has changed and you don't need branches all over. Look at what we're doing here today. I'm not in front of you face to face, but I'm reaching people from all over the world, yeah? So we've got to start shifting our vision and understanding the things I want, that promotion I want, that business I want, that money I want. Am I doing it because that is the blueprint? And the blueprint favored Goliath. The blueprint favored people who have money. The blueprint favored people who have certain titles, yeah? But now we're saying we've got to create a different blueprint. It doesn't think big, but we're gonna think, as we go in this month, we're gonna think big differently. It's not about growth, or just if you're in a business, it's not about growth for growth or profit's sake. If you're earning a salary, it's not about getting a salary increase just to earn more money for more money's sake. Why? We've got to ask ourselves why. David had a deeper why than Goliath. His why was deeper. And when you read the story, he was convicted that who is this giant who defies the armies of the living God? That was his why. So what's your dare? What's your dare to your life right now? Yeah, you're a human being, you're created by God for greatness. And here we're going to ask ourselves, what's our dare? What's that conviction I have that is so big, that is so deep in your heart, that will cause you to face Goliath? Cornelius, I can see you're seeing your Goliath is fear of failure. Yeah. You thought you needed a big place to start. You don't need that, yeah? And traditional thinking will tell you need the big things to start. I've had people who are always taking some sort of degree program or certificate program. Education is not bad, but it's not accumulating degree upon degree upon degree that is going to be necessarily relevant for the life we are going into. It's about things like, how adaptable are you? Why are you doing what you're doing? Yeah, what is the greater good? What problem are you solving, and why you? Yeah, so a lot of mistakes in money have been made by idolizing big figures. And in my book, Making Sense, yeah, and I'll talk about the book later, I talk about that even though you're given $1 million today, there'll be a reason why $1 million is not enough, because there's always going to be a bigger Goliath to beat. Yeah, so even though you have $1 million, you'll want 2 million and then 3 million. So money for money's sake is not enough. In fact, in the book, I say money should just be a tool, but money itself is not the life. But the world we have lived in, guys, the world we are now seeing is crumbling down, or the systems that we are now seeing are breaking. We are being exposed. This continuous going after money for money's sake is not going to help anybody else, yeah? It's big spending. People admired big spending. If you're in a business and you had a big office, then people admired you. If you were earning money and spending well and being seen to spend well, people admired you. And we created systems, even things like the financial systems around us favored Goliath. But We're here and we're spending our time every Friday because we don't want to just simply follow the system. We've been saying there's a reset. So we've got to start entering the reset language and understanding, even for our own lives, what do you need to reset? So what's your dare? What's the dare of your life? Yeah. Who dare tell you you can't be a global company? Who dare tell you that just because you started out at this level, you cannot be the CEO? Who dare tell you that? So we've got to start putting our aspirations, just like David did, as a dare. What are you going to dare the world? Georgina, your Goliath is that you're too young to start and also where to start. And we're going to be talking about that because I think, and for the young people here, the blueprint was a certain way. At 20 years old, you must have this much experience to be able to move there and to move there. Experience is valid, but it's not going to show up the same way as someone who was 20 years old in the 1980s. So it's different now. It's different now. And as much as we listen to the people around us and their experience, I'm not telling you that your experience has to be my experience. I'm here and I'm going to be sharing my story so people don't have to take 11 years or 12 years to realize the same things. So just because, Georgina, you're 20 years old does not mean, once you understand what your dare is, does not mean you can't move faster and you can't do it differently. Because you have something, like David had unique weapons that you can actually use. Goliath was heavy. Yeah, Isabella, I can see, yes, global footprint is also my dare. Goliath was heavy. So he was moving slowly because of that heavy armor. So sometimes we're trying to aspire to things that are so heavy. You want to build a certain type of business, but you're thinking about it so heavy. A lot of times, even when we're talking about business, we tell people you need to partner with people or you need to hire people. And they're thinking, oh, but I need to have this office set up. I need to have a team of 10 people. I need this. You're already thinking like Goliath. We are not going to succeed going forward thinking like Goliath. Others are, it's only if I have this kind of money that I can think like that. So let me tell you, even though in your bank account you only have $10,000 or $100, does not stop you from entering a conference where it's millionaires speaking or millionaires gathering. It does not stop you. So remove the heaviness. And the heaviness is not just from the outside world. The heaviness, a lot of the times, it's things we have put on ourselves. We carry fear. All of you are talking about fear. That's the heaviness that we have put on ourselves. We are carrying so much fear, and we are carrying so much, a lot of the heaviness has been, we are carrying other people's opinions. So we've got to start stripping off that armor so that we are left with what I was saying in the beginning is purely authentic. Guys, shed the weight. You have one life, and we've learned this lesson. A lot of us have been around people this season. I have been, who have lost people. And it has really hit home that you have one life. Yeah. And when that date is over for you, it is only you who's going to be in that grave. So what are you carrying? For some of us, our possessions have become the weight. Yeah. I've been teaching a class on retirement, and people are starting to understand that, by the way, it's that car that I'm driving and maintaining and paying a car loan for that is stopping me from traveling. So you shed the weight. When that day comes, will you be pleased about traveling and experiencing the world, or will you be pleased about paying your car loan for a car that looks good for other people? So we've got to shed the weight when it comes to money, because making sense conversations always has to lead back to wealth creation. Really ask yourself, what are you struggling to get money for? Is it for the things that you want, or is it the weight? Yeah. If you're in a business and you've been struggling to pay rent, ask yourselves, is paying rent my core business? Yeah. Is paying rent my core business? Because sometimes we find we're spending 30% of our revenues, 40% of our revenues on paying rent. Now, I'm not saying for every business that kind of premise is not needed, but for some businesses, as many have realized, is my core business rent? If it's not rent, slash that cost, get a more affordable place, let people work online. But there are so many things, yeah? And even partnerships. As I think for us as Centonomy, one of the things we learned, even sometimes we're carrying what we think are partnerships, but they are weight. When you strip down and understand that partnership, what value exactly are they bringing to the table? You understand, I don't need the weight anymore. And I'm really, as we go forward in our conversations, going to get to the heart of this, yeah? Are you spending money on the right things, or are you spending money on weight? The debt you're paying, is it on the right thing, or is it just weight? And is it just time to let go of that possession so that you can be free to go and challenge your Goliath? Because sometimes we've burdened ourselves with so much weight, we can't defeat our enemies. We can't go after what's in front of us. We can't deal with it because we're trying to carry everything. Yeah. It's even, we're now realizing as a business community, don't just hire people who look good on paper. That's weight. Yeah. You're hiring people who are creative, adaptable, problem solver. We want Davids, not Goliaths. Yeah. Who are heavy. Yeah. So even if you're in a job, in a workplace, understand that that is what the employer is now looking for. People who are going to move and move quickly, move with different tools. Yeah. They don't want Goliaths who have to be told, this is exactly what you do. When you do it, it's not your problem. Yeah. Thank you, Anne, for this comment about sometimes it's what are we putting in our minds? I think David was lucky when he was having time alone to take care of sheep. He didn't have too many people around him telling him, oh, David, you're too small, or taking care of sheep is not the same as beating Goliath, or killing a lion is not the same as beating Goliath. He got confidence in what he has. And we've been destabilized by the world system for so long that to a place where we're not even confident in ourselves. Remember I talked about, we just walk around with the imposter syndrome because we are always comparing ourselves to people. Yeah. So let's stop paying to have a life that is not authentically what the life that we want to live. It's not authentically the life, or put in a different way, it's not the life of purpose that God intended for you to have. Then you're always going to be working against the natural of things. And we don't want to work against the natural flow and rhythm. You're always going to feel you're in a fight, you're in a battle. Yeah. But when you now shed the way you're doing what is in line with that plan that God saw for you, then things become. So let's stop paying to, because God is not in that conversation. Let's stop having conversations. And I've talked about it before, but let me say it again. In Centonomy, we have this phrase called the poverty support group. The conversations that are all about the government is not doing this, the world is not doing this, I liked him because of this. Right. No fact, if all of us here today, all of us have different experiences, whether that experience came from how we were brought up, it came from our education, it came from different ways of exposure. Yeah. There's street smart, there's book smart, all these things have made us who we are sitting today. That is your positioning, and you have to understand that is your positioning. So stop worrying about what somebody else has, and also stop worrying about what other people are saying about what you have. You do you. And it's time to shed that weight of poverty support group and holding up your poverty support group and forcing yourself to be part of that conversation that is always complaining, because that is what we were brought up to do, or that is what we were conditioned to do. Because I think you're here, guys, and I think you spend your time every Friday, and those who are coming here today, I know you're going to be with us many more Fridays, because there's something, you're yearning for something in your spirit, you're yearning for something in your soul that says, go for it. So this is the go for it conversation. This community we are building is the go for it conversation that's going to have big dares like David. Yeah. Skills. We always think we don't have what it takes. When are you going to have what it takes? It's not another degree. I'm not saying the degree is bad to do. It's not another certificate. It's not another network. You have what it takes today for the step in front of you. Everybody has something that they can use. Even if you're living under a tree, you have something that they can use. David did not promote, he did not say my skills in the army. Everybody else had skills. They had been trained as warriors. They had been trained, but they were scared of fighting Goliath. David had not been trained in the army. So those are those are the things you've got to start understanding. In the book Making Sense, we start referring to them as non-financial assets. So if you've not read the book, please start out by reading the book, because a lot of the principles we're going to do this month are also in the book. So please start. But we talk about non-financial assets, and that's what we're going to start looking at. Yeah. He took confidence in the fact that he was a shepherd. He was proud of it. So you could have been in a position where you felt low, your business was low, your job was low, you feel you're not being paid a lot, or even if you're in a big position, there are other people above you that are still giving you so much noise and so much headache. But sometimes being a shepherd is the positioning that accelerates you more. Yeah. So it's not who you know today. It's not what you know today. It's not the traditional experience, the way the world has defined traditional experience. And even if you look at some of the outlier stories we always read, the Uber stories, the Facebook stories, yeah, there are a lot of businesses, even local here, that we look at, and like the Twiga food store, there's so many things, yeah. You start to understand that it's those people who are able to understand their unique value in this world. None of us have the same thumbprint. None of us have the same thumbprint. That means even if you have an identical twin, you do not have the same thumbprint. That means that there is something unique that you're supposed to do. Let's stop conforming. Let's stop trying to fit in. You are not brought here to fit in. You are brought here to stand out for a special purpose, yeah? So David knew how to recognize what he could use, and we're going to go through that, yeah? Do you know what you have? There are many jobs I've gotten, not because I had the traditional experience, but I realized what I actually have, yeah? There are many training jobs companies have given us, not especially when we're starting out, not because we had more experience than the other people, they had more experience. But when we got in a room, it was our ability to have this kind of conversations that was the tool we were actually using. Yeah. And you start understanding, I am the best. I am the best. Yeah. So what tools do you have? David used stones. Yeah. Small stones, while Goliath had all these swords and all this armor. Yeah. So David used stones, but he was also precise about it. It's not just having a skill or a tool you can use and then not knowing how to use it. He was very precise with his shot. That I must say. Yeah. So what are those weapons that you have? Yeah. And if you're feeling you're small, whether it's in a job, all over, even me, I'm feeling small. In this world, I'm just feeling small. You know what's so great about small, like David? Yeah, it means you can grow. You have somewhere to go to. I don't want to be so big like Goliath, who thought nobody could beat him, that he had no aspirations. Goliath had no aspirations, yeah? That he has nowhere to grow to. That is a very boring life, having nowhere to grow to. So if you've been feeling small in this world, it's a good place. You have somewhere to go. Yeah. You can make decisions faster. You can be adaptable. If you're starting a business, it means you can have a better working culture than those multinational organizations. I'm not saying that if you work in a multinational organization, be the David in that multinational organization. Yeah. You're flexible. You can move. You can solve problems. That's what we're looking for. Goliath had layers and layers. They have layers and layers before they get to the heart of the matter. So we want to understand ourselves without the layers and the layers and the layers that are usually in front of us. Just understand when you're more connected to your purpose, you're more resilient. If you're a business, even just that shows when you're more connected to your customer, you can operate out of anywhere. And it's not about this Goliath we always put in front of us and saying it's about the money. It's not about the money. It's about the story. It's about the positioning. It's about how you present yourself. It's about how confident you are about yourself. Yeah. So today's conversation is not going to be long because it was really going to be about setting the tone for the other 4 weeks of conversations that we're going to be talking about. You've been thinking you don't have what it takes. You've been thinking as an imposter syndrome. Yeah, you're an imposter. You've been thinking you're wondering why you don't fit in. You've been thinking there's so much noise in the world. There's so much bad news in the world. There's so much bad media in the world. I think media is a Goliath, yeah? But there are so many other great things, yeah? And so what my challenge is to you, yeah, is let's not go out and try and be Goliath. Let's be David. And when it comes to money, we're going to put money in its place because money is such a big Goliath, yeah? But I'm going to ask you, who is the master and who is the slave? You cannot be a slave to money. So money should not be the decision maker. So even when we're here, we're going to turn that relationship around. So you start making the decisions and the tool follows, yeah? Money is a tool for life. The most common way we give money power is I'm broke, I can't, not for me, not good enough. You know, whatever follows I am comes looking for you. I can't blocks your mind from contemplating it. Yeah. David didn't say I can't. He looked at what he had. If this situation has been put in front of you, it means if a Goliath has been put in front of you in your life, it means you have something that you can use. You have weapons that you can use, yeah? I can't blocks your mind from even contemplating it, yeah? So the principles we're going to look at even things like consistency. How consistent are you? He was a shepherd doing things consistently. How consistent things are you? We're going to look at things like purpose. What is it really going to enable you to do beating this Goliath? How connected are you to that? With money, there's money. As I said before, you can get money, but a lot of people get money illegally and then they're not living a purposeful life. They can't even enjoy it, yeah? So look at all your goals and then see which ones are actually connected to you, yeah? You're buying nice things, having a nice life, all good. And we want to include that. But why? What is your why that is driving you? It has to be stronger than money. Yeah. So that's how we're going to approach this month's conversation. Thank you for all your comments. Yeah. Rosemary, thank you about the non-financial assets. And I hope, guys, you're looking forward to having a David season. So this month is going to be a David season. So we're going to be looking at things like vision, as I've said. We're going to be looking at what do you have? And we're going to bring stories of people who've used what they have in such a unique way. And they are not unique. It's just that they understood what they have and how to use it. We're going to make sure we drop the armor, and then we are going to be quick about it, because just to end this, when David decided that he's going to go for him, he ran quickly. He did not procrastinate. He did not doubt himself. He ran towards his Goliath and threw that stone. So to be quick, I hope you'll be joining us. Please tell your friends about what we're actually doing this season. Please tell them to join this conversation as we actually do it. And let's end this year in a better way. Let's end this year understanding you don't have to do it the same way it was done before. You don't have to do it the same way it was done before. You don't have to copy anybody. Let's end the year understanding there is actually nothing wrong with you. So many times we think there's something wrong with us, yeah? You don't have to end the year starting to think, how am I going to actually make it? You don't have to make it the way somebody else make it. You don't even have to make it the way you were told you should make it, yeah? All I want you to understand is your uniqueness. Your uniqueness is what we actually want from you this season. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to end here for today. I hope you will be joining the series on David and Goliath this month. And remember, if you need to buy the book, you can actually purchase the book. We're going to be using a lot of principles. If you're joining us for the first time today, Making Sense Conversations is about principles brought about from my book, but as you can see, we've extended it. And it's really, at the end of the day, building a community of financially empowered people. So the book, where you can get the book, is on screen. You can get it directly at Centonomy. Some of you have been asking by calling that number. It's online at Amazon, at Rafu, at Nuria. Locally in Kenya, it is available at those bookshops: Yaya Center, Africa Book Hub, Prestige Book Hub, Patmat Bookshop. It is shortly going to be in Uganda. And please do read the book, and I look forward to having a David month with you. Go and read that story as you join us. Get your family on board, get your colleagues on board, get your friends on board, because it's really, really going to be a powerful month, because by the time we start November, we want to be ready to close out the year properly. And next year, 2021 is not going to look like 2020. And let's prepare now, because it's preparation that meets opportunity. It's preparation, not luck, not chance. Yeah. So look forward to seeing you then. Have a great weekend and see you next time. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Now.
Mbona kusema hivi kitambo?